subscribe and click the notifications button.
Hi guys, Kim here with Art Classes for Kids, and this is my first ever Valentine art box. I've got 3 projects that are all Valentine themed, and the first one is a painted paper collage that's gonna look a little bit like this. I call it the Heartburst. It's not inspired by anybody famous. I just created this on my own, and it's fun because you get to paint on contact paper, which is like shelf paper or shelf liner. It's like white but sticky on the back side. And we're gonna create our own colors, and we're going to make this composition on foam board. So what we're gonna need is in our bag V1. So grab your bag and let's make sure we've got everything that you need. I'll just dump it out. Okay, the first thing we've got are the instructions. And we're not gonna need these right now because I'm gonna take you step by step through how to make this little cool holiday artwork. But keep it in case you wanna make it again. We're going to be building it all on this foam board, this white foam board. You're also going to be using this piece of contact paper. This is the sticky back side, this is the plain white side, and it's contact brown. That's why I call it contact, kind of like we call tissues Kleenex. And we're going to be painting on it with these 2 sets of paints. We've got the primary, secondaries, and some fluorescent colors to give it that pop. We've also got a paintbrush. We're going to need a paper towel and a paper plate. We're also going to need a pencil and a glue stick to write on and adhere our label to the back. So we're gonna need all those things, and the only thing else that we will need, but it's not in the bag, are a pair of scissors. So grab a pair of scissors from your house. I'm gonna shoot it over to our overhead camera so you can see everything that we're going to need right here. Gather that up. Now the beauty of these videos, if it's your very first time doing art with me, the great thing is when I pre-record these videos, you can pause at any time and go at your own pace. And then when you're ready to join back in, you just push play. So let's get started. What we're going to need first will be the contact paper and the paper plate, the paper towel, the paints, and the brush. Set the foam board and all the other stuff aside. We're gonna flip this over to the white side, and we're going to paint this entire piece of white sticky paper. We're gonna start with the light colors and then go to the dark colors. But what I'm gonna do first is open up all my little paint pots. So go ahead and just, when they're new, sometimes it's hard to open them up, but use your little mic and twist it and pop it and lift it open on all of them so we can see, whoops, all the colors. Also, sometimes when they're brand new, they kind of separate. Sometimes the water in it separates from the acrylic kind of plasticky paint. And when that happens, you know, you can stir it up with your paintbrush and get it, you know, more consistent. The other thing I forgot to bring up is that this, or the one thing I forgot to bring up, is that this paint is acrylic paint, and acrylic paint doesn't come out of your clothes. So what you'll need to do is either wear an old shirt that you don't care if it gets painted on, or you can wear your apron or something covering it. Also, on your table, in case the paint goes past this contact paper, put another piece of paper down under it. Or you can just take like a trash bag and make it flat and put it on there, because that's easy to throw away afterwards. Or if you have some old tablecloth, whatever it takes, but cover your table. I just use this paper, but you use what works for you. Okay, we're gonna get started. We got our paintbrush. Starting with the lightest colors, I'm going to use the yellow. Now, the fluorescent color is a little more transparent than the others. I'm going to make a section of yellow, and I don't want to have goopy, thick spots because I want it to dry evenly. So make sure that you smooth out your paint. I'm gonna wipe that out. I'm gonna do the other yellow as well. I'll do it over here.
Yellow!
So you can see the difference between the 2 yellows. The fluorescent one looks a lot more lit up, and the other one just has a bright you know, typical sunshine yellow look. Okay, next what we're gonna do is we're gonna go to the next darker color. I think it'll be orange. So I'm gonna take the fluorescent color orange and go across.
Orange.
And it's a lot thinner than the opaque colors in the back tray. So you can give it a second coat once it's dry, but try not to have a lot of thick spots because those thick spots, now they take longer to dry. I'm going to go to the pink next. I love this hot pink.
Pink.
I might use this more than the other colors, so maybe I'll paint a little more of a, you know, a larger area of this pink. And now I've got the pink. I can create new pinks. I'll take some white and I'll mix it with some pink and I'll get a new pink. This is more opaque, but it's a light pink. I'm going to paint it right here and get that stripe. And then I'm going to go on to another color. So I will go on to the purple.
I love purple.
And just paint it in. Now, like I said before, the fluorescent colors, they're a lot more transparent. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna let it dry and maybe give it a second coat. Okay, next I'm going to do, blue.
Blue.
So I'm just making, it's kind of like I'm making a rainbow on my paper. And remember, try not to have a lot of thick spots because then it will dry more evenly. You can go all the way off the edge if you want, and you can make two colors overlap and create a new color. Okay, I'm going for this dark blue now. Now my dark blue is kind of watery. I'm just going to stir it up a little and make it more even. And now I've got some blue. Remember, you want to paint it nice and thin, smooth strokes. And I'm going to create a new color now. I'm going to take this blue that I have on my brush and mix it with a little bit of this fluorescent purple. Okay, now that I have that color, I'm just going to paint it in. And I've pretty much gotten all the colors of the rainbow that I want. But I don't have any bright red, and that's, you know, a really, you know, big color when it comes to Valentine's Day. So I will add some red down here. And I did leave one color out. I left out green. I think I'll do a green. Let's see what I've got here. Let me just wipe this brush up. Now, I didn't want to add water with a water jar because if you get these paints really thin, they don't stick to the contact paper that well. But I'll go ahead and grab some of this green and I'll paint it right here. Now, I'm going to give some second coats to some of the really transparent colors, like the pink. So the pink, I'm going to take this part over here and make it brighter. And I think that's pretty good. Maybe I'll add a dark green, so I have another dark color. And I'll add a dark orange. I'll take a little bit of red and add it with this fluorescent yellow and see what happens.
Looking good.
Okay, it's kind of a dark orange. But now I've got all these different colors to choose from for my heart. The only thing I'd like to do is have more contrast. Contrast is where a dark color is near a light color, and to get that contrast, I'm gonna have to make a darker color. So I'm taking this blue and I'm going to make my blue darker so I have more dark colors. That one doesn't want to get so dark for some reason. So let's try to get our purple darker by mixing some more in here. I'll even put some blue on top of it. So right now you're kind of experimenting with what colors you can create. Okay. I think I have plenty of colors. Now, what I want to do is kind of clean up my paint so that it gives it a little more time to dry. You want this contact paper that's been painted to be dry when you cut it. So cleaning up now will give my paper more time to dry. And I'm going to take my name label, write my name on it, give it today's date, the day that you make it, even though I'm making this many days before you'll see this video, so it'll be a different date. And then I'm gonna put some glue on the back of it. And stick it onto my white foam board. And then I'll flip this over, and this is where I'm going to create my work of art. So we'll just set that aside for a moment. Won't need my pencil anymore, the instructions. Now this, if it isn't completely dry when you're ready to cut it, you can either take your finger and rub out all the thick spots of paint. It's like this.
Rub it in.
Notice I'm rubbing them the same direction that I painted them rather than up and down. Or you could take a blow dryer to it and just dry it, but you gotta make sure everything around you doesn't get blown around. And give that a go. Now ours is ready to cut, so let me show you what to do next. Next, what you're going to do is you're going to make the heart for the center. So you cut out a piece anywhere. I want to have a pink heart in the middle, so I'm going to cut out a chunk of pink. And I'm going to have a double heart. Like here I had actually a purple heart and a yellow heart and an orange heart. But you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want as long as you have a centerpiece that everything is bursting out of. So I'm grabbing this and I'm going to take my pencil and draw half of a heart. And then I'll cut this. Whoops. And I've got my heart. But I want to have more than one heart. So I'll have a blue and I'll have a pink. So this one, I'll make this one a little bit bigger and I'll cut this one. Okay. Now comes the tricky part. This is the only hard part of the whole project, is getting the sticky back off of the painted side. So what you do, and we'll zoom into this, you'll fold any corner or like a pointed part, like the bottom of the heart, and you'll fold it over and then you'll scratch off the backing with your fingernail, and then pretty soon you can separate them apart just like that. Let me show that to you one more time. You'll bend the corner, you'll scratch the back, and then you'll pull it apart. I'm making it look pretty easy, but it's really not that hard, but the first time it might be kind of tricky. Now you're gonna go to the middle and you're gonna set your hearts up. They could be side to side or they could be on top of each other overlapping. I'm gonna go for the overlap. And next what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna cut each section of color apart from the other. So I'm going to have these strips. And now I have all these pieces. Now instead of cutting teeny tiny pieces and then pulling the backing off, I'm just gonna pull the backing off of a whole section. So I'll take this orange, for example, and I'll scratch the corner, pull it apart, and now I'm gonna cut this into pieces. Maybe I'll get, I don't know, 4 or 5 pieces out of it, and I just start sticking them down as I cut them. You can have a point at one end, like I just did with this one, or you can have it flat at both ends. You can have shorter pieces, or you can have longer pieces. And it's that easy. So this is one of these projects that, you know, kind of like knitting or crocheting. You're just doing one thing and you're repeating it over and over. But each time you do, you're thinking about where do you want to put it? What shape do you want it to be? How long do you want it to be? All kinds of things. So you take care of all those creative, you know, design questions as you're cutting and placing and creating your composition. Now, if it's your first time doing art with me, you might not know what I mean when I say composition. But composition is the placement of all of the objects within your work of art. So the objects within this are all these strips or stripes of painted paper. So I just keep placing these wherever I want. And if they go off the edge, I can trim those in, and I can even use this scrap somewhere off out there just as long as it looks like it's bursting. So now I'm going to take some of this blue. I've got a lot of blue. Let me just cut this in half. And I'll show you a few things that you can do that you might not have thought of so far. You can keep all your cuts straight, or you could try something new. What you could do is you could cut a zigzag like this. Something like this, and have that burst out of the heart. And then you still got the other side you can use. So you can even try to tear it. Some people just can tear these things. So you can have a few skinny ones, and this could maybe burst out of there, and you can stick them together. Let's see that one. So you can create new shapes. So this is where you get creative and you make it your own. Okay, I'm going to put a bunch of these blue ones. So once I have the back peeled, I want to use this whole piece up in different areas. So I will go over to here. Let's see, we can use one over here. That'll be a pretty big one. You can make them all skinny if you're more of a detail kind of person, or you can, you know, make some of them thicker than others. So I'm gonna just cruise through this. You go at your own pace. I'm gonna cruise through this, and then when I get to the end, I'm gonna reveal how the finished piece looks. But pretty much, I'm just going to be sticking these on, and I'm going to save my favorite colors for last, because then they'll be on top. So I want to save my red and my pink and my purple for on top, because those are the colors that are my favorite for this little heart burst. Now I'm going to do some of these pointy kind of stripes where they kind of are triangular. So just do it however you want, and the colors you chose are gonna have a big effect on how it looks. Maybe you only chose 2 colors. Maybe you're doing the whole thing in pink and red. I just decided to go for it with all these different colors. And I don't like when they're all the same. I like to have a little variety, but that's up to you. You can also overlap. So if you want some of this purple to go over some of this yellow, that'll look kind of cool. I'm looking for all the spaces that have, a lot of the white spaces where the background still shows, like right here. And I try to fill in everything. I don't want to have a big open spot at the end. Okay, now I'm down to the red and the pink. Let's go for the red. I think I'll do really skinny pieces of red. This stuff is sticky, but the good thing about it is that it's repositionable. That means I can put it down somewhere and then think, oh, I don't know if I like it there anymore, and just pull it off and reposition it in a new area, like maybe over there. I make a lot of projects with this. So if you ever want to do another project out of this painted paper contact paper projects, you could make one up on your own, because now you know how to use this material. Or you could check out my YouTube channel and see what other projects I have. Okay, now all I have left is a little bit of pink. to use most all of the painted paper that you made because it's going to take a lot to fill it up. Okay, I think I've got it. I'm going to trim the edges. I had a few scraps left, but I really like how many I decided to keep in it. So, before I reveal this, I can't wait to see how yours turns out. And I really love when you guys share how your art turned out with me. Now you can do that two ways. You can either directly email it to me at kim@artclassesforkids.com, or you can post it on Instagram and tag it with Art Classes for Kids. Now, you ready for the reveal? Here we go. This is how mine turned out. Just like this. Ta-da! Now, you can spend more time on it. I don't want to rush you. If you want to put a lot more detail in it, go right ahead. If you think you're done, then you know when you're done. I hope you enjoyed this project and that you hang this up during this month and bring it out every year during Valentine's. And until I see you next, keep making cool art.